We have some major breaking news. It has been announced that Denny Hamlin has picked up a pretty massive sponsorship for the remainder of 2025. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. As I just said a second ago, we got some pretty massive major breaking news this evening, as it has been announced that Denny Hamlin has picked up some pretty major sponsorship for most of the remainder of 2025. It was announced just a few minutes ago from Joe Gibbs Racing and Bob Pockers and many reporters in the industry that Joe Gibbs Racing has announced Progressive Insurance will be the primary sponsor for 18 races this year for Denny Hamlin. The first race will sponsor Denny Hamlin this year will be this weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway. The rest schedule has not been announced at this time, and more of those details are going to be coming at a later date. We've been hearing rumors over the course of the last couple of days. I talked about this a little bit on the channel on Sunday when rumors started to circulate, and then on Monday it became kind of clear that they were expected to likely be sponsoring Joe Gibbs Racing in 2025. And a lot of people were linking Denny Hamlin to be picking up some pretty massive sponsorship. Now, this is a really, really big deal for a lot of reasons. Number one, Progressive Insurance is the fourth biggest seller in NASCAR currently at the moment. I believe behind Toyota, Ford is in fifth position. I think Breasttreet was number 2 or number 3, and I believe another big company was also inside the top 5 as well. 4 of those 5 big companies were involved in NASCAR and had sponsors that were involved in NASCAR, had involvement with a team or a manufacturer. Progressive was that sponsor that was not involved with the team or manufacturer at the time until now. Now, what's interesting is Progressive Insurance a couple years ago, they had association with RFK Racing. Now, I believe that RFK and Joe Gibbs Racing have some sort of alliance on the sponsorship side of things. So I believe the Acronis group over there, they're kind of aligned with both of the teams. So it's interesting you've got Kings Hawaiian that was with RFK going over to Joe Gibbs Racing this year for a few races sponsored Denny Hamlin, but also you've got of now Progressive Insurance working with the team for a lot of races. This also is a really big deal for Denny Hamlin. There's been a lot of talk and conversation throughout the year about Denny Hamlin's future in NASCAR. And one of the reasons people like myself were thinking Denny Hamlin's future was a little bit uncertain was because Denny Hamlin did not have a major backer. We all were thinking at the time that we were going to be in a very similar situation what happened with Kyle Busch. At the end of 2021, it was announced that M&Ms would not be returned to Joe Gibbs Racing after 2022, and then all the Kyle Busch free agency rumors came up. They were looking to pick up Oracle for 2023, and they tried to convince Kyle Busch to stay. Kyle Busch left the team, and of course, he went over to Richard Childress Racing. Joe Gibbs Racing would like to have major and big sponsors, and this is a really, really big deal for the team. And Denny Hamlin makes the most sense, because you think about all the high-profile drivers. Kyle Busch, of course, has a lot of different brandings that do work for them, like Bank OZK, which sponsors him this weekend, Cheddar's, and also other companies throughout the RCR branding. You also think about like Kyle Larson, HendrickCars.com, Joe Logano, Pennzoil, Shell. You think about William Byron with Valvoline, and of course Liberty University from time to time, and a couple other companies that work with them, like DuPont and those other companies that associate, like Axalta as well. And of course with Shane Van Gisbergen, you got Wendy's, of course you've got WeatherTech that sponsors for a lot of races, and Red Bull as well. And you think about RFK with some of their sponsorship deals. But Denny Hamlin made the most sense because he was really the only driver that didn't have a major backing sponsorship. Because remember, at the end of last year, FedEx and, of course, Mavis Tire left the sport at the end of last year. Mavis Tire had a really big personal deal with Denny Hamlin. They left the sport at the end of last year. So Denny Hamlin having this big sponsor is also a really big deal. So I think it's going to quell a lot of those rumors for Denny Hamlin currently at the moment. Because like I mentioned a second ago, Denny Hamlin's future was a little bit uncertain. I think not having a big sponsor backing him for this year was bringing up a lot of those questions. But I don't think anybody in the lower series from Toyota's pipeline was ready to move up. I don't think Brandon Jones is better than Denny Hamlin. I certainly don't think that William Swalge and Taylor Gray in any way, shape, or form ready to go. Sure, you could have gotten Kyle Busch back in the team, but there's also a chance Kyle Busch may stay with Richard Childress Racing next year, even though he's a free agent currently at the moment, because Kyle Busch may not return to RCR next year. But I think for Denny Hamlin picking up big sponsor, we've seen some pretty big sponsors come into sport recently. You've got Amazon Prime, which is sponsoring Chase Elliott for 3 or 4 races this year. You've got other big companies like I mentioned Red Bull coming back to sponsor Connor Zillage in his Cup Series debut and sponsor Shane Van Gisbergen in Las Vegas and a couple other races as well. So to see a big company like Progressive come into sport and sponsor Denny Hamlin, it is a major, major deal. And it's a massive, massive company. Progressive Insurance Insurance is one of the biggest insurance companies out there, and they spend a lot of money. I believe they spent about $4 to $5 million last year on advertising and sponsorship deals, and now they're going to be able to have that Progressive deal with Joe Gibbs Racing this year. They're not going to be sponsoring any of the other Joe Gibbs Racing drivers this year, so you're not going to see him on like Chase Briscoe's car, because Chase Briscoe's got Bass Pro Shops for every race this year. They're not sponsoring Ty Gibbs, and they're not sponsoring Chris Bell this year, because they all got sponsorship from other companies like Monster Energy and DeWalt and all that stuff as well. This is going to close a lot of the gaps, because throughout the year so far, Denny Hamlin's had bits and pieces of sponsorship. Kings Hawaiian, of course, will sponsor Denny Hamlin for 4 races this year. You think about AMP, which is going to sponsor for 2 races on the West Coast. And now you've got a big company that will be there with Denny. I think it's going to quell a lot of the rumors going on currently at the moment for Denny Hamlin. And I think this is a major, major deal for the team and organization. I think it's really exciting to see Denny Hamlin has a big sponsor. Denny Hamlin is one of the biggest high-profile drivers, and he really asked for a major, major contract. So to see Progressive Insurance coming on, especially for this weekend, I got to say the paint scheme they revealed tonight looks really, really good. The other thing I'm hoping for is we see Denny Hamlin in some commercials with Progressive. We see him with Flo. We see him with Jamie in those commercials, because I think Progressive commercials with NASCAR would be really, really cool. Plus, we've been seeing NASCAR doing a lot more driver activation. They're doing that thing. If driver does a lot more activation, they get a lot more money. We've seen like Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, and Bubba Wallace do some stuff this year. They've been going on shows. They, of course, went out to Mexico City, so they can get a little bit more money in the driver incentive program. And I think, again, it's a massive deal for Denny Hamlin, though, to pick up a big sponsor, and it's really awesome that Progressive Insurance will be coming into the sport in 2025, and it's good to see them coming back, because they worked with RFK a couple years ago when they were still with Roush, and, of course, they sponsored Ryan Newman back in 2019, and they sponsored other drivers in the past. But to me, it's a really exciting deal nonetheless to see that Progressive Insurance is coming into the sport to sponsor Denny Hamlin, and it's good to see that Denny Hamlin has finally picked up some sponsorship for 2025 that is going to sponsor him for a lot of the year, with FedEx and, of course, Mavis Tire no longer working with him. And for people say bringing up the lawsuit has nothing to do with this stuff, because Joe Gibbs Racing and 2011 not in front row are little separate situations currently at the moment, because Michael Jordan and them are not associated with Joe Gibbs Racing right now. So that's not something that we're going to talk about currently at the moment. So that is going to be tonight's special breaking news report on Denny Hamlin picking up a new sponsor. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go below that and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. What are your thoughts about Denny Hamlin picking up a new sponsor for 2025? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And do you think this will quiet all the rumors around Denny Hamlin currently at the moment? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we're going to discuss more about the Progressive Insurance news from tonight. We're also going to talk about Junior Motorsports and maybe them making more cup starts with Travelers Whiskey trying to extend that. We're also going to talk about some other stuff that's been going on in the industry recently. Shane Van Gisbergen is also going to have a new sponsor. We might talk about that on the channel coming up very soon as well. We also got some other content coming out. We've got the Xfinity race picks dropping. We've also got, of course, on Thursday, Cup race picks for Homestead dropping. We've also got the paint skin video dropping as well. We've got a lot of major news coming out in the next couple days. We'll talk about people like Haley Deegan, Shane Van Gisbergen, cards, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Red Bull, M&M's, FedEx, all the good stuff we'll be talking about on the channel really, really soon. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.